we're going to be seeing whether or not we see Beastcoast able to follow through with something interesting and keep those training weights on, or if they will remove them and try and demolish the side of Team Tempest as we get into our third and deciding draft. Beastcoast sticking with the bans of the last game here, removing the Visage and the Beastmaster, but Tempest this time around will go in for the first ban on this here, Tiny. All right, so we don't know what's going to be the plan here overall for either of these teams, but very quickly before we even see heroes, Winter, give me a prediction. What do you think this game is going to result in?
Oh, Beastcoast is gonna do their Beastcoast thing. Try not to experiment too much. I feel like they are done. Last game, like, we're not gonna play running around the map, throwing around bodies, making sure that K1 can still farm in. They would much rather boss the game, and the four of them are just totally destroying the game. They have a decent start to the laning phase, and K1 is just joining fights, taking towers, getting objectives.
Well, one of K1's best heroes has been removed from the pool as they ban out that Juggernaut.
Oh,
and Beastcoast, this time around, they take the Viper. They're like, all right, it's our turn. You cannot escape it. Neither of you. I'm telling you, this hero is fun to play. I'm telling you,
This
kids.
is your fault.
It's fun.
This
It's
is your
enjoyable.
fault.
Listen, I respect the hero from like a strategical standpoint, but I don't think anybody should be enjoying that apart from like sort of like out of a superiority kind of feel. Like, yeah, everybody hates this and me too, but I'm still gonna win with this. Like, that's I accept that. But you know what? Winter said it, like they just have to take care of their lanes, and Viper certainly takes care of one lane for you. Like, it'll do that free of charge, cost you one pick, and you got a lane.
Mm-hmm. No matter what they're going to be, I imagine this is going to be a support for them, or we'll see how the draft unfolds. But either way, just something to be able to secure the lane. And Tempest here taking a very long time to think about this opening pick. We've of course seen Beastcoast normally grabbing either Snapfire Clock, and they get the snap now from Tempest. They don't want to give it away for a third game in a row, even after just beating it. Do they go in for the clock here, Winter, to try and steal it away from Beastcoast? Because if they leave it in, it probably gets taken anyway. Decent enough as an interrupt to the Snapfire. So do you want to give up that weapon, or do you just roll the dice, pick something that's better for you, and then just leave Beastcoast to their own devices?
I mean, I would pick the Clockwork. I think Clock, Tiny, and maybe some would argue Marcy. These three, I personally feel like these three are probably my top 3 position 4 heroes that I would want to grab in my initial draft, my opening draft. So I would strongly consider them, and especially with Snapfire, I think Clockwork probably works better compared to Marcy in terms of like the lane killing potential and the setup and everything. Nyx is similar to Clockwork with Snapfire. Nyx is also probably a reaction. It might be a reaction towards Viper because you can use your carapace on the Viper.
Use Carapace on Viper, you sort of deny the spirits coming out from the mid lane for Chris Luck, and you can just frustrate the game overall, play with some additional vision control. Alright, I'm never really sad to see a Nyx Assassin unless I'm in the game personally, so this is fine. But Beastcoast now will emerge with a Mars pick for themselves here. So some team fight for themselves. They didn't really have the best way to start fights in the previous game, so I'm glad that they fixed that with this hero. Although today, Kips, we've seen this hero being occupied in many roles, both mid and in the off lane. So where do you think this Mars is going to be going for the side of Beastcoast here, especially considering that they already have a little bit of additional AoE damage on this Viper?
Yeah, wherever it wins the lane, I think. And with 2 supports, well, most likely 2 supports on the board, they really have no information about matchups just yet. But like, Mars is, I don't want to say a lane, he's not a lane dominator anymore, but he's certainly still a strong laner. And you can get, like, Viper, Mars sounds like absolute hell for any carry to lane into, so I wouldn't actually be surprised to see this just go straight to the offlane.
Yeah, Mars is definitely still stable pick, If you're not sure what you want to pick as an offlaner, I think Mars is, team started experimenting with Centaur a little bit with the buff to the stun, but I think after a while they kind of still realize that he doesn't give you what a Mars gives you in the team fights, the lockdown, the control. Like Centaur is more like it's like a tank and slash utility, but Mars is more like, he gives you a lot of team fight.
This gives you so much of everything, this Mars hero. It's so good, honestly. very understandable why
he's like
Paul
a
is-
spirit, you know. Very
God.
well. He ticks a lot of boxes. He does this. He does that. Oh, he does this too. Oh, he does that too. Sure, why not have this hero in the draft?
Yeah, I feel like we've had a lot of new heroes with, I don't want to say this problem, but certainly like this feature where they do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to like internal synergy?
A lot of the newer
that's
heroes are
internet
also very mobile. A lot of them are like they can jump around, fly everywhere.
We're having some mobility creep. I don't want to say it's bad though. Like it certainly makes for a more dynamic game. And as long as we don't get rid of the turn rates, I'm cool with it. Like you still need to choose carefully which the direction you're going to face before you go jumping off there. But it is a bit much sometimes.
Please, if you want somewhat directional issues, please talk to Ice Frog about this Marcy hero. Sometimes I see these rebound dispose combos and I'm like, really? Seriously? That happened? Okay, cool. This game, obviously, she hasn't been employed just yet. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier on, Winter. Why do you think here in South America we don't actually see as much Marcy as we've seen employed in a lot of the other regions around the world?
And Viper is always there though. South America is definitely one of the regions that always pick. I mean, not always, but a lot of the games they have this hero, Viper hero. They prioritize a lane dominator. I wouldn't say Marcy is like kind of like a lane dominator. It totally depends on the pairing that you pick with Marcy. If you have a good pairing, then yes, sure, she can be a lane dominator. But most of the time, I would say she's average in the lane. She's okay in the lane, not that strong, but much more useful later. And in South America, I think it's a bit like similar like C. You know, if you lose the lane, the teams they struggle to find a solution. Or what do they need to do when the laning phase goes to shit? You know, what they have to sacrifice in exchange, try to get back into the game, or where they should be where they should be going on the map. The game becomes way too difficult for them to play.
Speaking of games that are difficult to play right now, Tempest are going to be relying on a bit of an old faithful here, going in for the Sebas Invoker. He's played this hero quite some. It's an old classical for him, but not necessarily something that he's been utilizing to the greatest effect so far in this Division 1 of the DPC. But he's still going to be picking it. They have some degree of lockdown here. We don't know if they're going to be trying to combo this up with Big Burst or if they're going to be enabling a different hero with some additional tempo control. Although they have to deal with this against the Clockwork, because Beastcoast, of course they were going to pick Clockwork. If it's in the pool, it hasn't been banned. It's still been successful for them, Kips. You know, the games might not have gone the way they planned to, especially in Game 2, of course, but it's Clock. Why not pick it? Winter mentioned it, one of the best support heroes right now on the patch.
And it still did so much work in that losing game too, so really not surprised to see it. Also, I mean, it feels a little bit rough picking it up versus the Invoker. Like, if you cogs yourself, you often make yourself a target for a Sunstrike, right? It's not always great. But at the same time, the amount of mobility you get out of it, the utility, division, Clock's just the whole package right now, man.
Way too good. Way too good. And they now just have... It just feels so disruptive in these fights. Like Mars Arena, Clock Cogs at a different point in the fight. Obviously, we don't know what else is coming, but it does feel like Tempest is going to have to be on point.
The shot is also an underrated part about. I think the shot is like the shot is like so good, you know. Like I don't know how I feel about like Dota being like the draft being about this hero has a good shot. We must pick this hero. You know, I'm not sure how I feel about that. You know, I feel like it's a bit it's hard to balance like when things are like that. Certain hero has a shot that's oh my god, we need to pick this hero. Some heroes like why even bother buying the shot? You know.
Yeah, you know I remember LC shard. That was good times.
No, it wasn't. It was awful times. Wasn't great. I mean, didn't he go Clock Shard last 2 games like first item, I believe?
It's just too good it's way too good to skip unless you're like a core Clockwork. Then you want to get a like an Orchid Rush, like if you're a mid Clockwork. But other than that, I think if you're a support Clockwork, position 5 or 4, Shard is always good. You know, you give vision, you can escape, you can place wards with the Shard. You can do so much with it, you know, and it's so cheap.
Not much commitment required out of you to be able to be effective.
Why would I buy a Ghost Scepter when I can do that? When I can just buy the shot? Why?
I actually would want to check.
Yeah,
I actually want to check like if there's been a a reduction in Ghost Scepter purchases once the shard got introduced on this hero. But it might be complicated because Clockwork wasn't being picked in often enough to really make a determination on that particular pattern. But we now see the CK again here, Kips, for the second time today. The last time we saw this, it was picked second, and it didn't really have a good time because the opposing team was able to respond quite well in the draft to it. What do you make of this fourth pick here for the side of Tempest? 8th in the picking order overall. The CK good in this game into the safe lane TA?
I'm not sure if it's even going to be a safe lane TA. Don't remember that being on K1's list at all. Like, isn't he one of those few carries who does not actually ever play safe lane TA?
I will
Probably
find
mid
out.
for them. It's probably mid for them.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna lane TA
It's
against
probably mid.
Invoker. You have a good lane
Yeah.
there.
And it's
That's an old
I
school
would,
lane, right?
yeah. And I would downgrade it right now anyway, like take it out of the carry position because this CK matchup for the TA it's very bad. Like you do absolutely nothing versus CK. He takes away all your refraction within a single jump basically. You gotta get to level 25 to fight him at all, and even then like it's yikes. So we're going to have to see a bit more of an active TA and some other carry follow up here.
Yeah, y'all are certainly right. This should be the mid lane TA. They've played this 3 times on this patch for Chris Luck. And the last time K1 played Templar Assassin was all the way back in 2016. I mean, the last time he played TA, Donald Trump was never president. So that's a long, long time ago. Unlikely to be emerging again in this game. Last bans here. Venomonster taken out for, the 5th game today. That Beastcoast will ban this out. No DP either. And Tempest, no Terrorblade. So they also are assuming here that this is going to be a mid lane TA from the side of Chris Luck.
Oh, nice ban. That hero is good against the Nyx and the Snapfire. They don't really have much good options now because with TA, if TA is gonna be mid, your safe laner needs to be a less greedy safe laner. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, a stun. How greedy is this guy? I'm not sure nowadays. He did get some nice buffs.
He did, but at the same time, this is one of those drafts where I'm like, man, both of these heroes just want the triangle at the exact same time. And it's very hard to juggle the time between them.
Somebody has to give way.
Yeah, exactly.
Sven is good.
I mean, that's what I'd say in a normal game, but the problem is that K1 is going to be on Sven. Have you ever seen him sacrifice?
Nope,
K1 does not sacrifice. He takes everything. And it's a complicated game, right? Because they do need the dual BKBs on both the TA and the Sven. We have this last pick, Phoenix. There's some ways, I suppose, to be able to get close to the egg, but until you have BKB, you can't really fight your way towards it. You're in a little bit of danger there. And we have this situation where, given the nature of the draft and how they've configured their heroes together here, Winter, not only do they need to find a lot of farm together, but they need experience. These are not heroes that do very well just without experience either. So we're going to need some very good lanes out of this squad here for the side of Beastcoast. Can they achieve it with how they've configured their draft right now with this Viper and Clockwork support duo?
I don't like their draft, but I think they're going to be able to win their lanes. At the very least, they have decent lanes. They are pretty strong. Enemy has Phoenix support, not very good in the lane. Phoenix and Nyx, they are both so-so in the lane, but they do contribute a lot to the game later. But I feel like the key thing is having a good lane, and I think Beastcoast has it this game.
Yeah.
You think Beastcoast has it? Kips, do you agree? How do you feel about it, given that we do have at least a mid-invoker coming in right now from the side of Team Tempest, who will be buying the Spirit Vessel? Feels like a decent Spirit Vessel game. Is that going to be good enough to help them to a victory, or are you with Winter that this is going to be a 2-1 victory for Beastcoast?
I like the matchups that they've got going here for themselves for Beastcoast. We're going to see that Viper come out versus the CK. We're going to see the TA versus the Invoker. That's 2-1 lanes, and then we know this Sven is going to farm forever. And I think he does bring this home eventually late game. So yeah, as far as like Beastcoast playstyle goes, I think they've got this one secured. Like with any other team, I would not be so sure, because this juggling that they're going to have to do between the TA and the Sven, like, that's awkward, man. But it's BC. They got the winning carry matchup. It feels wrong to not give it to K1.
How many times in the DPC have we seen the K1 Hector in a promising or even awkward position, but given a promising hero, able to pull it out a victory for his squad? We'll be seeing whether or not that's going to be happening yet again here in this third and deciding game between Team Tempest and Beastcoast. Whoever wins will go up 2-1 in the leaderboard. Whoever loses will go down 1-2. Who is going to be on which side of that equation? We're going to be finding out right now with Gareth and D2 Bowie. Take it away, boys. See you after the game.
Away we go. Yeah, here we are. Final deciding game to find out if Tempest will complete the upset or if Beastcoast can rally in this third game. I've got to say, I agree with Kips and Winter fully that lane matchups here look incredibly dominant for Beastcoast across all 3 lanes. And that has been a defining factor, coming out laning stage strong in pretty much all these games in South America. Bowie, what do you reckon?
I can assign you.
It feels like this draft has benefited Beastcoast quite a lot. I think in game 2, where they last picked at the Grimstroke for Tempest, it felt really powerful. I don't really feel the same way with this Cat 2 Phoenix. I thought it was going to be core Phoenix, and then it kind of made more sense to me. But being a position 5, I just feel like this is going to be like you have the CK that wants to get kills, right? And then you last pick this Phoenix that doesn't contribute too much in that regard. And then you have this Invoker versus TA, which is also... No, obviously it's Quaswex, so it's not as bad for the Invoker, but still definitely not great. And Snapfire Nyx, you know, it's not like a Snapfire Mars or Centaur. I feel like the lanes are much better this time for Beastcoast, and usually that's... If they can win their lanes, they usually just stomp games.
Yeah, and if they can replicate what they did in game 2 with the React Response team being very speedy, maybe Tempest have a good shout to deal with what Beastcoast are bringing here in game 3. Already we're seeing stuns and spells being thrown around in that bottom lane, but K1 already off to a good start in his CS at 3-1. How important do you think this game revolves around the Invoker rotations? Because I often feel like Quaswex Invoker is hit or miss depending on how you can react to opponents.
Oh, it's a lot relying on Sebas. You do have this Nyx Assassin, but because we are assuming the lane is not going to go that well for Tempest, I think he's probably not going to get, level 6 before 10 minutes, and so Sebas will be pulling a lot of weight into creating space this game. Oh, and
they've already lost their
they want to
snap.
get first blood. No TP on the Snapfire, by the way, so that's the worst case scenario ever.
Yeah, she'd already TP'd back to that tier 1 from the previous engagement. And that's the strength of the Viper 5. Spam your poison on people until they die. Top lane, a bit of a go there on the Phoenix. Whisper and Gojira getting closer to level 2 on the Clockwork. You have hit level 2 on Whisper, so he's got the ability to start spearing people around. And into Cogs. I struggle to see how they kill anyone, especially since Gojira has boots on the Clockwork. Can get the distance away.
Strength heroes, not a lot of, not burst damage at all on, with the nerfs on CK, and Phoenix just being a kind of a slow hero in terms of, it scales a lot with levels, but until level 5, it's not really a lot of damage.
Just had to check the courier to see how many mangoes the Viper's bringing. He's got regen coming, so he can continue spamming poison. And boots for Sven as well. It feels like top lane, not much action is going to be occurring there. They throw spells on Gojira, he cogs and runs. Whisper just continuing. The free farm and spear back the CK. One tower hit will land on him. Gojira, no mana for battery assault, so he can't give chase. Tara trying to give as good as he got, but Whisper doing a good amount of damage to him.
This game reminds me a little bit of I think it's Hokori versus Beastcoast of 3 months ago. I don't think you were casting through 2 of us. They played TA with Naga on Beastcoast. In that game specifically, their lanes weren't as good as this one, and even still they won. So with the lanes, as good as they have right now, it really... I struggle to find ways. It's going to be this Invoker, man. Sebas really has to impress us this time.
Corey Beastcoast. I remember Beastcoast playing a bunch of Naga games. I can't remember if I was casting that one.
I think... Yeah, I don't remember if we were casting, but it's from 3 months ago. It was game 2 of their series against Hokori for tier 2.
And there goes another. Sebas solo kill by the TA. And Sea-Smile has been continually diving this tower and getting these refraction hits on the Invoker. No surprise that TA Invoker picks up a kill at level 4, level 5. When the traps come out, it only gets more difficult for Sebas in that lane. Katara's taking the beating up top as well. He's sitting there half HP, just being speared around by Whisper.
The only one surprised by this.
And the wave. Dragged back. Katyu does collect the creeps from the pull. Good God's Rebuke there as Gojira looks to connect onto Katyu and force. Well, there's no dive. There's no dive. He's already used it. Katyu down. Katara now no regen remaining and no real ability to stick in the lane. While they do get a couple of kills elsewhere. K1 and Stinger. Do they get both of them? Slardin and Draken dying to this Viper Sven lane.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, looking back into that draft, when... Okay, they will get Kotaro top as well. Jesus. I just want to say, when I was watching that... when I was watching that draft, I saw the TA pick, and they instantly got CK, and I was like, man, this really reminds me of this other series. And I think they got debated hard. As the panel pointed out, they rarely play or maybe never played carry TA on K1, and I feel like getting that CK was a very hard debate. It really screwed their lanes, and it made their draft really wonky. Pretty much that last pick, Phoenix, didn't really felt like something they wanted to do, but rather they felt kind of lost actually.
And Katara still not having a good time up here. Battery Assault's fully on him. He's away from the creeps. Gojira still has a second of it to go, and another hit from Whisper if he can just get close enough. Stick and spear, and a second coming, and he'll have the angle to line it up. Sharpshooter straight through the trees while Sea-Smile is being ganked. Two-man rotation in, Tornado to finish him off. Invoker getting some revenge, but it required two heroes to come into his lane.
But very much necessary.
Draken. Man, Viper will gladly give his life. Sebas also TPing there to get the cross kill. K1, 300 health, stunned by the bounty rune. Invoker has a couple of spells on cooldown. I don't think he's fast enough to catch up to a Warcry Sven. Now, Sven's going to go jungle, right? Go on K1, go to a jungle camp. No? Really? Huh. So often, K1 is like 300 HP, gets ganked, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go hit some creeps again.
I guess he wants to TP top. Let's see if he'll steal the lane from Whisper.
Playing that top lane for himself.
Ghost bottom? Okay.
Yeah. Back down into the kill lane. Viper, level 5. Carapace used by Nyx. Top lane, they are getting on top of a Whisper. He's got stick fairy fire, so no chance whatsoever he's dying. And Katyu has just used dive again. These aggressive dives from Katyu to try and catch the pull, try and catch the Mars, leaves him open for Gojira and Whisper just to secure their 9th kill of the game. Katara putting himself in the firing line. As bottom, they're diving yet again. Draken blasted by the Sven, who's got God Strength on. Slarding does carapace and turn back to take down the Viper. But everywhere you look, there's bloodshed, there's fodder. There are dead Tempest heroes lining up. TA thinking about going on Invoker, but loses all of her mana. Closed in on again by Slardin, but no mana on him either. No stuns. Got carapace in 3 seconds. Sea-Smile could have gone for that, but it's a little risky. Oh, he's going to go back again. Carapace is up now, but with refraction arriving, Chris Luck finds another.
I don't know, Gareth. This game is just getting out of control. I really feel like they have to collapse into this mid lane. They can definitely kill TA with enough heroes because the Invoker has a lot of reach. But the problem is it feels like it's too hectic right now. The Nyx assassin was by himself. They just need to maybe just smoke with the supports. The problem is that there's also like wards already being placed down, right? The trap actually gives vision in between tier 1 and tier 2. I really struggle to see what this Phoenix is going to do top.
incredibly difficult when you're so reliant on your levels. Like, ulti for Phoenix, it's not going to come for a good like 2-3 minutes. He's level 4, so even with the book, he won't be as knowledgeable as his counterparts. Gojira already level 5. Viper is about to hit 6. Stinger has had a spectacular lane down bottom. Gojira tracking back on the Nyx Assassin. See, does he sentry this camp? Yeah. You're making this move and you're centering, like, okay, you've blocked it. You'll force your opponents to get some D-wards out, but likely you're going to die here. And they absolutely 100% know that you've just sentried and warded over on this left-hand side of the map.
Yeah, Sliding is cosplaying as Gojira, but not as effective. And yeah, I mean, at least he will prevent like one stack. Gojira doesn't even try, just like the Anshin, because he knows it's blocked. Look at that beautiful aggregation of creeps.
Aggregation. You got one of those one new word a day kind of things going on there?
Not really, not really.
Your thesaurus open next to you?
Yeah, I think like the wording Portuguese, similar wording Portuguese is kind of common, but in English it sounds fancy.
Did I mix my
Yeah. I think the only common place you talk about aggregate or aggregation is like football, when you've got home and away games. You've got the aggregate score. K1 and C-Smile defending their triangle though. Slardin, Carapace is back, the stun. C-Smile just gonna go and run. Turn back with the meld hit strike, and Cat-U trapped in the cogs. Once more diving aggressively to his own demise. And 16-4. I mean, I've seen one-way streets in Paris, in Berlin, in London, but nothing like this.
Yeah, that felt like a lot of headless chickens. I mean, they understand that this game is only going to get worse if they don't act, but there's not a lot of cohesion right now. They got kind of demoralized by the laning stage, and even though they understand what they should be doing,
big kill on K1. And they'll finish it with a tornado, right? But Sebas dying to the 2 cores that are here rallying around him. How much gold did he get there out of that? 635 experience, 989. That's worth.
Yeah, his Vessel is pretty much like almost done with Vessel because of that kill, actually. Arrow going for his armlet. Things, are looking up for this hero. Oh, got you. Nice.
Yeah, Whisper lets one slip through his fingers. And what's the recourse? What's the answer from Tempest? Is it team fight around Supernova? Does CK get involved early? Because it feels like they have to go and fight to break out of this rut.
Yeah, they first of all, they have to open up the map to allow Kotaro to ramp up at the speed this Sven is farming. They don't have Vendetta right now, but still I feel like it's necessary.
And they're going all in on a Stinger Viper. And kill him off. Cat-U close to death, but he's... he's jumped by Whisper. Finding a sly one. Killing him off. The most interesting thing for me is honestly the ancient camp is still blocked and they didn't deward the observer. There's 2 sentries and 2 observers in their triangle. Beastcoast just don't care.
It is revealed, but I guess they just forgot about it. It happens. And we do have a smoke, so Snapfire level 6 with the Nyx. That's something ideally they would have liked to do a little bit earlier. Oh, and they're late for mid though. I guess they really want K1.
They desperately want him. Stinger is bodyguarding the Sven though, and even with that smoke from behind their own tier 2, they can't connect properly. Maybe now that they know the Viper has been removed from the equation. Slot in. Lands a stun. Kisses come. K1. And just going to walk right and walk it off. Now Beastcoast responding to this aggression as they lose their courier. But a blink forward and a hold. Whisper waits for the perfect moment to spear him back. Gojira's found Draken too. Does he have hook shot? Oh, he does. Hookshot Cogs at the ready. His teammate's not really near enough by to go for this. He'll let it go.
Yeah, like the move was fine having the Snapfire and the Nyx, but they're so far behind that they needed another hero. And like if this was done 5 minutes earlier, maybe Sven wouldn't be, you know, as tanky, and Becky would have been possible. They're just they have a lot on their plate right now.
I had to go back and double check. I did cast that Beastcoast Okori series. Yeah,
Really?
definitely rang a bell. It was me and Lacoste.
Oh.
27th of March. Gojira gonna save the life of his buddies as they TP out and escape this top part of the map. Sacrifices himself to Draken. There's a similar story as always. He's up top, letting himself die, forcing 4 heroes to rotate into him. Ancients are being cleared. Sven is farming. Seasmile is looking to claim a bottom tier 1. And the map always belongs to Beastcoast. A 9k lead at 15 minutes is pretty spectacular. A good carapace there, going to stop Whisper in his tracks. With Stinger and Whisper inside this arena. Yeah, Nether Toxin doing a lot of damage on Invoker. The Sunray Supernova comes out. The K1 just turns and burns, focuses it down. And you've lost 2 heroes off of your own move, while Smile 2 hits. That's all it takes. Get to the center of the next assassin. Stomp the bug and dive tier 2. Look for the CK now. Dodges out the first Reality Rift with a meld. Does get stunned on his way back, but Gojira arriving means TA wrapping around will find another kill. Sludden buys back, but this is a rout now. A Snapfire, no chance of survival. A Beastcoast, they're just so good at this kind of aggressive play early on.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they are snowballing. I mean, we were talking about how greedy this draft was, but if they stop their lanes like that, the greediness doesn't really matter. All of the heroes, and I mean, I guess the Phoenix pick on the side of Tempest was also very greedy. This position 5 heroes that only really do things once you're level 6. They have 2 of those heroes, Nyx and Phoenix. Like if they're level 5, there's a huge discrepancy to what they can do in comparison to level 6. Both of those heroes were under farm, so under farmed and under leveled. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it comes back to this draft. The lane matchups, a play from Beastcoast, all been spot on. Now, previously, that Void Spirit of Chris Luck had some serious problems. He has been unlocked and he's activated his true power. Oh, Gojira with his jetpack. Winter was talking about it with his Aghanim Shard. Of course, every game he first item, Aghanim Shard for the jetpack, escapes from danger, and K1's there to pick up the pieces. Tempest in disarray at this point. What do you do? How do you smoke into them? We smoke and then we die. Do we split push? We split push and we die. We try and team fight around Roshan. I don't think that's going to be a good idea.
Yeah, I know this is going to be very off topic, so bear with me here, Gareth. But I actually ordered fried chicken, and it's smelling really, really good. And every time Phoenix dies, it just makes me think of it more. And I'm struggling here, man. It just smells so good.
Let's go eat some.
I mean, I'm casting right now, but after this is done, and it doesn't feel like it's going to take that long, I'll be thinking about Catch You.
Look at him. He's so funny. Floating and flapping around. Have you never had to go and do something really important in the middle of a cast before?
Oh yeah, I had. I had, the mailman, and I'm the only person in the house, so he just keeps on knocking, and eventually I have to make an excuse.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said mayo man, as in mayonnaise man, and I was, for a split second, very confused as to why
you guys
have
don't have
a
that
mayo
in the
man.
UK? We have that here. Every week he brings us a new jar.
Like the milkman, but with mayonnaise. Oh, jeez.
Do you have any very? I mean, I guess as a hypecaster it's even harder, right? You can't really get out of mid-cast.
It's pretty impossible. I think the worst thing that's happened to me when I was still with JD and casting from the studios. This is a good 5 years back or something. As maybe a turn from Tempest here. We'll come back in a second. They've got the Viper all locked up, so they get a trade. Chris Luck seems unstoppable at this point, though. He's looking to dive tier 3s. Oh, drag back and blinks away. Good play. Yeah, I think the worst scenario that's happened to me, I was in the studios. I was casting, I don't know, I was casting a best of 5, like D2CL Grand Finals or something. And in the middle of game 2, the game PC, so we had a 2 PC setup, one for playing the game and one for streaming and the audio and all that stuff. The game PC graphics card blew up. So there was no video feed onto the stream. I couldn't see what was happening to the game. So my co-caster had to radio cast while I was under the table, fiddling with cables and moving a graphics card from another computer into that one.
Oh my god.
Sometimes shit happens.
Oh yeah. I mean, those days of actually having to observe for yourself, they were tough.
Here we go. Here we go, Bowie. This is their chance. This is Tempest. Defending tier 2. Cryslark is deep, but he's got Aegis, don't forget. Kisses land. Supernova looks decent. See Smile, held down by Gojira and Stinger. They get the Phoenix Egg. And now K1. Now just move in and unload all this physical damage onto Sebas. There's a clean sweep through 4 of them, and they're going to die for the 5th. Draken, he's being taunted, baited, toyed with the food on the plate of Whisper. He's going to get gobbled up and eaten. Who's going to take it? See Smile, is it yours? Who does it belong to? It is the TA.
Wow. What a masterclass here from Beastcoast. They just outplay the lanes, and the game's like not even close right now. I think it's really funny how
What's
Goda's like.
Did you see that?
No, what did he do?
Gojira was in enemy base. You see where the trees are broken on the right side of Dire base?
Yeah.
He was there, just jetpacking, TPing home, as he does. Sorry, continue. What were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say that with these tier 1 teams, sometimes you can just lose K1 there. It feels like you have game 2, right? The game looks really, really close. Even kind of a stomp for Tempest. But then you have games where it looks totally different. And like, sure, this is gonna be a 2-1 victory. Everyone's gonna say that Beastcoast had this in the bag. But Tempest, I think they're really close from breaking the code. Like in the games where they look good, they look pretty decent. But here I feel like it's really just a total outdraft by Beastcoast. Yeah. Sure, they won the lanes, but because the draft is just insanely favored for them.
Yeah. I mean, there are like a number of issues, right? The primary one we usually talk, see Smile, has to BKB. Good arena spear, God Tribute, chain stun with a clockwork, hook shot, Sebas blasted by the Melt Strike, and another fight where Beastcoast come in and kill 4 heroes, losing nothing. But it often feels like we talk about the macro game and the game plans from Beastcoast being that overarching victory win condition that they have domestically against other South American teams. But in game 2, it felt like Tempest kind of had a good read on that counter to their macro play with the reactions and the movements they had. Gojira in enemy base, yet again, jetpacking himself into another death. K1 has BKB and he wants to make sure he doesn't get caught by the carapace. Now he moves back in onto Kataro. CK annihilated. And Katyu already spending dive. Away he goes. Yeah, Tempest have seemed to address a lot of the macro play decently. The TP reactions and understanding where and when they need to be. But in a game like this where I think you're right, they are outdrafted, outlaned, the macro play just doesn't matter. No amount of response, no amount of 5-man TPs are going to help you.
I mean, there's definitely a couple of plays that they could have executed better. For instance, they killed TA mid. That was a good move. But then some other moves were they were not together at the right time. They didn't have the resources that they needed. So it's not like, this game was impossible, but it's one of those games where you can only make 2-3 big mistakes, and they definitely they're over those 2 and 3, and we're probably at mistake 11 right now.
Yeah, it's 40-10, 41, 42, 40 anymore. Buy back out of Draken. That's getting a bit silly at this point. Another lane of barracks, 24 minutes in. There's no time rating in the league, so it doesn't matter how long you drag these games out. But maybe Tempest think they have a chance to win a team fight into another team fight and use Beastcoast's aggression against them. You know how they like to dive, they like to go for hero kills, but right now they're being very, very focused, stoic Beastcoast.
Oh,
uncharacteristic and focusing buildings. C-Small, yeah, okay, he's going fountain diving. Here we go, Bowie. Drag the clockwork into the fountain, kill him with the kisses. And Kajira buying back, but C-Smile just BKBs, lets it rip, kills the Supernova. Chaos Knight in a bit of trouble as he backs his way to fountain, nearly dead and does get finished. No buyback on him. Invoker about to drop as well. C-Smile still surviving with Refraction already in a second. He might be able to. Never mind. Doesn't get away from it. But K1, the king of farm, he's ready to finish this game and put it out of contest. Game over. Single G from Catyu. Very one-sided game. Beastcoast assert their dominance and say no more upsets, just as Thunder Awakened did in their previous series. Win game 1, lose game 2, and then shut the door in game 3.
Definitely. When we look at at the points that Beastcoast have, I think they're definitely more pressed to at least go to the major. Like, they are, 97, maybe 98% guaranteed to go to TI, but you really don't want to play any games. You don't want to give chances to, whatever it is that still might happen in SA. And
you don't want to be caught in like the last chance qualifier or wildcards or anything like that either.
Exactly. There's so many upsets going on right now, right? I think Gaming Gladiators were 0-2 just a couple of days ago. Who knows? Like, maybe just a lot of new teams go to the major, and it can screw all of these predictions. I'm glad that they won because I do feel like they are the better team. And, to Tempest, I still feel like they have a bright future ahead. But some of their drafts still really need some working. I think game 1 with that sniper, game 2 with this Lespe Phoenix, they have to make some adjustments.
Absolutely do. I mean, what was the net worth lead at the end of that? Is there an easy way to see, or do I have to do maths?
Yeah, there you go. That's about 30K,
30 something, right?
Yep.
Beastcoast had 64,023. 4, 2, 3, 9. I'm doing maths here, Bowie. You can join if you want to. 72.
You're from the UK. I trust you.
Plus 6, 8, 9, 2. I've got a numpad, so I can do calculator shit real easy.
Okay.
So this number minus 3, 2, 3, 6, 4. 31,659 in a 25-minute game. Bowie, yeah. that is wild. Like, that is actually wild. Usually these kind of gaps come in, 30, 40, 50-minute games, but having that kind of a lead that fast has some bonkers stuff. But yeah, there we go. Game 3 done. It's in the books. Tempest lose out in this series as Beastcoast claim a pretty decisive victory, all things considered. Good signs from Tempest, though, as we can head back to Snare and the panel to think about what comes next and maybe an interview. We'll see.
Damn, what a performance coming in from Beastcoast. Winter, you were talking about it, that usually what's going to happen in this game 3, they're going to turn it up, not messing around anymore, go completely all in. And Gareth was referencing there that the game ended with a 32k net worth lead pretty much in favor of Beastcoast. But let's contextualize this a little bit more. So check this out, right? There's some things I've literally never seen in my life. I've never in my life seen pre-10 minutes Dota Plus saying that there's a 90+% chance of a team winning a game. And I've also never seen this particular gap. At 18 minutes, it was a less than 1,000k per minute gold lead in favor of Beastcoast. But a mere 5 minutes later, it was more than 1,000k. Absolute demolition. They did everything perfectly. And, we were worried, Winter, about the greed between the Sven and the TA. It turns out somehow you can both farm the triangle at the same time, and it all goes well for you somehow. That was something. Like, wow, what do you do if you're on the side right now of Team Tempest? What could you have done in this game to stop Beastcoast?
Draft better lanes. The game was pretty much over after 10 minutes. I mean, Dota Plus was right. They lost all 3 lanes. The lanes were like at least 7-3, most of them. Game was bad. Like, they can't play the game, If your lanes are that bad, there's just no Dota for you.
Unfortunately,
pretty much agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, can I go ahead?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, right, the only thing you can do in that situation is toss everybody in one lane. Like, get your level 6s, toss everybody in one lane, break a tower, and hope that you can get something out of the space that you then create on the map to not get stuck in a situation where there's 3 tier 1s up and no way to get any of them down. But usually that ends in an even sadder scenario where you lose that fight for the one tower, and then you're even further behind. So, like, that's the only out I normally tell teams to chase, but that would have been super hard this game as well.
You try that. If it doesn't work, just type GG. Usually.
Yeah.
GG, go next, boys. This was too fast. GG. Like, wow. There's also one of these kind of games where, you know, when you're playing, you have this CA, right? The enemy team picks CK, they have an Invoker as well. In your mind, you're probably thinking to yourself, you know what, even if CK can't deal with this hero, at the very least, we're going to have this tornado, some degree of impact to be able to deal damage onto her. But it felt like they had nothing, Winter. Just honestly felt like an automatic game at some point here for the side of Beastcoast. One of the things I was also very worried about as I was watching this game is that, like, you were mentioning earlier when we were watching the previous games that they don't necessarily have the best understanding of where to be on the map in tandem with one another. In game 2, it felt like that issue wasn't as present. This game, it came back in a very massive way. It just really felt like they were quite disconnected on the map in terms of what they needed to do and how they were supposed to find and kill not just one hero, but multiple, because they kept Beastcoast doing what they've always do. We throw one of our supports in front of your aggression. Suddenly, what you're trying to do peters out. We counteract with K1 or with Chrisluck, or hell, actually, for me, K1 and Chrisluck did really well. But my goodness, Whisper on that Mars, 16-0-23, just did everything for the squad. And they just didn't have the ability to team fight back on the side of Team Tempest. I don't know. I feel like this is one of those games where really you could see the difference in experience between Beastcoast and Team Tempest coming out here, Winter, in terms of how to approach these fights and how to utilize a very greedy draft and not make it seem as greedy as it looks on paper.
You can do whatever you want if you win all 3 lanes. Doesn't matter, you know. If
Yeah.
you crush your lanes that badly. But I think even in the second game, you were saying about it doesn't look as bad for Team Tempest about their macro game. But I felt like it was also quite obvious to me because they did well in the lanes and they couldn't really transition that into a bigger lead. You know, that itself, I feel like it's showing that their weakness about their understanding on where to play on the map, what they need to do. I feel like this team definitely has some potential about. They have some interesting ideas on how to play the game, but they have to iron out the basics. You know, the root causes about why they're losing. If they don't iron out those macro stuff, it's gonna be hard for them to move forward.
I mean, he brings up an interesting point there, Kips, because we see the contrast, right, in what a game looks like for Beastcoast when they come out of the laning phase with a massive advantage versus what it looks like for the side of Team Tempest. When it's Team Tempest, it still takes them a further 20-something odd minutes to get to a commanding advantage. But Beastcoast, they were not messing around. They just went extremely quickly into this winning position. And we've seen this oftentimes from Beastcoast that somehow they're able to keep leveraging this massive greed across the map. How do they do it? And how do they keep doing it so reliably, despite teams having to have an idea that this is what we're going to be playing into when we play against Beastcoast?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, it's just all down to the draft order. Like, you get the Viper as a support to secure one lane, right? And you pair it up with whatever you want, really. So you get one lane secured. Then you see the Invoker on mid. You know you can counterpick TA into that. Now you have 1-2 lanes, and the third lane was really just down to execution, and Mars is a strong laner as well. So it's very hard to avoid that unless you very deliberately do not pick your mid laner all the way up until the end so they can't counterpick it as hard. Gotta give a special shout out to the Phoenix though. Like Bowie mentioned it multiple times. Like the fried chicken.
Scrambled.
Phoenix was not in this game. That was. I mean, we've seen some baffling last picks today. A certain Lycan comes to mind, but that Phoenix pick also is definitely not doing them any favors there in trying to get the lanes back.
Yeah, I really thought like what Bowie was mentioning in the game, that this was potentially going to be a core hero. That's where like it's like, oh, Phoenix, cool, that's what they're going to do. But having it as support, and we've seen it more than once today, that these heroes that rely very much on their levels to be effective in this game, relegated to the 5 position and suddenly not having the same degree of impact. Winter, what do you think? If they were able, let's say, to put this Phoenix into a core role in the off lane or whatever, would we have had a better showing out of him? Or I asked this question to Sexified earlier when they had, I think it was Doom and Brewmaster. I think it was Doom 5 and then Brewmaster 3. And I asked him if he switched it around with the game matter. He said no. What do you think about this game? If it was core Phoenix, is it a better showing or does it not really matter given what we saw coming out of the side of Beastcoast? Let's assume that it wasn't just one lanes. Let's assume that they didn't just rinse the lanes as easily as they did in this game.
I would actually try to do a try lane. Usually, when I'm forced into a situation where I have to draft 2 weak side lanes, I would talk to my players and try to figure out whether we can do a try lane and sacrifice someone, or we go aggressive try lane and put the one solo in the safe lane so everybody gets to play the game. And that would be my approach. To try to figure out if you can do that. Put the Phoenix Knicks and just maybe do just a try lane, safe lane for a couple of minutes, or you help the off laner pull. If you put the lanes in the same way that they are, the Knicks will start the game by pulling the first wave. You get your level 2, and then you TP to the safe lane to try and kill, and you just say bye-bye to the offlaner.
Somebody has to get sacked, and it's better to sack one player than to have all 3 lanes just getting lost in the fashion that they did. Yeah, so I'm fully on board with that, especially when you know for a fact that the win condition for Beast Coast was going to be getting all this farm on K1. And Kips, we were worried about, do they have the space to be able to do so? Not only do they have the space, but they did it extremely quickly. So do we now start thinking about the Sven hero? Because I had a bit of another argument, but we were talking about it in one of the DPC games we were doing. And I was saying that I think Sven is like, last patch, I felt like he was not that far away from actually being a viable hero to be picked in the meta. How do you feel about this hero overall as a safe laner? And do you think that he's viable? And do you think that the showing here that we've seen from Beast Coast is going to have him be in their pockets as they look towards these future drafts in the DPC?
I'm of the opinion that in this game they could have picked like a Burlap Sack as their last hero, and it would not have mattered because they would have raffle stomped this game. I like Sven in certain counter matchups. Here versus the CK, it's nice. But overall in this meta, we talked a little bit about the mobility creep and the amount of like forced repositioning tools that we have to our disposal right now as well. Like more coming in with Marcy now. And Sven's problem is still the same as it was all those years ago. It's getting kited. And getting kited becomes more and more of a problem as you get left behind here. And he doesn't even really have... I mean, you can still buy the Ags, of course, but it doesn't have the same oomph anymore now that you don't get the free dispel to go along with it anymore. So I don't know, man. I still think it's niche. It's nice, the built-in farm amp, but ultimately, like in the game, I think you just have a lot of issues with what's viable for the rest of the.
If they change the axe, maybe, so that when you buy the axe, you can maybe do some auto cast. So you turn it off, then you can cast your stun normally instead of jumping over every time. Then maybe I feel that would be good for the hero, because I don't think it's good every time he has to fly in, and then sometimes he just die. You know? Yeah, yep. If you can control whether you're using the normal stun or the flying in stun, then I think the hero will be a lot more stronger or more viable.
Yeah, he's very all in right now. I mean, it's great to cast, right? But to play, it's like you're just like, okay, guys, I'm all in. It's like, we've seen this game. This like you can't play poker like this. It's like, nah, bro, I'm going all in.
Yeah, but it was completely busted before when you had a dispel. So
yeah,
it was ridiculous. I feel like that's always the balancing act of Dota 2, right? Whenever there's going to be some kind of way of trying to make a hero fair, you can go easily too far in the opposite directions. Either crazy strong, or you just go make it practically unusable. But in this particular situation, Sven is very much a usable hero for this game, and Beast Coast will utilize it to grab themselves a 2-1 victory here in the series and put themselves on 2-1 in the leaderboard in general. And of course, both themselves as well as Thunder Awaken pretty much already qualified for TI, so it's not that big of a deal for them to win out these games, but they want to go to the major, perfect their craft, and ensure that they don't come up to TI half-cocked or unwarmed up. They must be ready to play the full style of Dota there. Moving forward into the future, though, now that we have seen this Tempest team drop down this 2-1, Winter, I know we were talking about the fact that they lack the full degree of map cohesion, maybe team fight understanding that might help them to really elevate to the next level. What do we need to do right? Obviously, they need to have these conversations. They need to ensure that they understand how to play the game on the same accord. But let me rephrase this question. In a universe where Beast Coast and Thunder Awaken aren't doing as well as they are right now, right? How do you improve? Because normally the usual solution to improving is play against opponents that are better than you and learn
Six
from
man.
them, figure out what they're doing. Six
Get a
man,
six-
let's hear.
Yeah, I get a coach. Yeah, I think that would be the most logical way. You need somebody on the outside to you want someone more experienced than your players if that's possible. But if you only have 5 people, it's hard, because like I said,
Yeah.
you need to have all those heart-to-heart talks. Harsh things are going to be said. You want it to be said by someone that's not playing in the game. That would be best.
Yes.
Otherwise, feelings are hurt. When feelings are hurt, people get mad and you can't play the game.
Yeah,
So-
I have done this for teams where it's just like, all right, you tell me the bad news and then I deliver it, so I'm the bad guy because you don't have to work with me in the game. It's all good. That's what coaches are for. Because constructive disagreement is super important, but that's a skill that like most regular humans might never learn in their life. So yeah, like,
99%
get
of
that
Dota
coach.
players don't have that. When they say something out to you, you did this wrong, that it's gonna come out in a way where you feel so bad.
yeah.
So you
They haven't heard the iMessage yet. Like, when you don't buy BKB, that makes the game hard for me, and it hurts my feelings.
No,
Please buy
you telling
BKBs.
I need the ancients at this point of time in the game, and what you're doing is screwing with me. And you're supposed to bring the supports, go top, get the freaking tower. And the guy is like, why can't the supports tell me if they need me to take the top tower? Then the other guy goes, we are the supports. We don't know your timing. And then the conversation never ends.
Honestly, at this point, I would just love to see everybody in the team writing each other letters and be like, this is what I think is wrong with your playstyle. You need to sort this out, deal with this issue. But on a more serious note, definitely there are a lot of improvements to be made on the side of Team Tempest. But on the other side, though, looking at Beastcoast, because it didn't play perfectly. Obviously, there is anticipation of them trying to experiment, draft differently, putting on some training weight to try and elevate to the next level. From what you saw, Kips, what do you think is holding Beastcoast back? Say at the major, top 6 is one thing. What stops them and prevents them from being able to get top 4, top 3, top 2, maybe even challenging for a championship at these major competitions?
I think sometimes, but this is really only versus like the major international competition, right? I think sometimes they actually have trouble executing these games, like these proper mid game games where K1 has to get involved. Because even in this game, you see, right, they ruffle stomp all the lanes, and it's basically 4 heroes playing, and that happens whether Hector has a great game or not. So if you're up versus another team, you go equal with them, and they just bring their carry. Beastcoast is often outnumbered, just because there's not that instinct to bring Hector in. Whether they're winning or whether they're losing, they're not really bringing him in, and that's where I feel they sometimes miss the bus.
That definitely makes sense to me. And Winter, if you're looking at some of the other teams that are in this division right now, and they obviously have to have their gaze set upon a Beastcoast, set upon a Thunder Awaken. We've seen Thunder Awaken previously before, but just from this series, what's the signal? If you were to coach a team on how to dismantle Beastcoast, what would you tell them to do? Like the primary thing to deal with this team?
Map movements, like the way they're distributing their farm and who's farming what. I think that sometimes they're a little bit too greedy in terms of how they are farming, and that needs to be punished. But at the same time, you have to be more efficient with the wave shoving. Like if you look at even like how OG does it, is like every time before they do something, the wave is shoved out very, very quickly. You don't even care if you get the last hits on the creeps. You're just there to shove the wave, and then there's wave pressure. They don't see anything on that side of the map, and then you quickly make a move. Everything has to happen really quickly at the same time, and they end up invading either your triangle, they kill your carry or whatever, If they're lucky, the support tanks the gang. But even if the support tanks the gang, in that scenario, the waves are all pushed. You lose your support in the triangle, you're still losing a lot of the farm in the map. So either way, you're getting under pressure. That needs to, happen. So basically, you have to do it faster than Beastcoast. And the thing I don't like about the way the meta is being played right now is like, both teams are trying to do the same thing but quicker instead of variety, instead of someone trying to turtle dodge, try to split push or trying to, do some all-in push strats. Those kind of stuff don't happen as often in the current meta. It's all about, we are just trying to outpace you. Our carry can fight earlier. He buys a diffuser. He has an Echo Saber. He's TPing into a mid-tier 1 tower defense. Your carry is AFK farming. Okay, you lose. And you don't defend your triangle, and then you can't farm your ancients. And the game feels like, it's interesting for the audience, because there's always so much team fighting. There's always all the spells being casted. All that is great, but on
Sparks fly.
Yeah, all that's great. But on the strategy point of view, it's bland because you're just trying to do the same thing but better. You're trying to cook the same pizza but with more flavor. It's getting boring.
I'm hoping that as this patch develops and as we get closer, not just towards the major, but TI itself, that we do see more strategies being concocted in the kitchen so that it's not just a stale, bland recipe, but a bit of variety, some spice and some extra flavors being given towards the game that we love. But with that and with this victory for the side of Beastcoast taking the series 2-1, we are going to be calling it a night, or technically a morning, because it's now gone well past into the early AM. And now we are done 2-1 for Beastcoast, 2-1 for Thunder Awaken. And the two teams that have represented South America at the major still maintain hopes of doing so in Arlington as well. And with that, we are closing it off. Kips, Winter, thank you so much for your expertise, for your time tonight. And final words from either of you?
Pineapple is good on pizza.
My man, I like that.
Yeah. And since I've recently immigrated to Finland, I'm gonna one up that pineapple and blue cheese is good on pizza.
I'm lactose intolerant, so I might not be able to co-sign the blue cheese, but at the very least, we all have the pineapple together, and we can agree on that and agree that South America is a great region to watch. So all of you, please make sure to keep following this channel. Shout out as well to our sponsor, the people that are making this all happen, Cyberscore, who have enabled this tournament to happen and the fashion it does. So shout out to them. Go check them out and ensure that you are up to date on the information they're providing. Of course, make sure that you are following both Kips and Winter and the social medias. Show them some love and show Epulze Gaming some love as well. And we will see you in the future. Some more DPC action will be coming soon, but for now, we are going to be shutting it down. Myself, Snare, with Kips and Winter, saying goodnight. Of course, Gareth and D2 Bowie in the background, as well as Lacoste and Sexy Fat, who joined us earlier. Shout out as well to our observer, Uwu, and to the producer for making this all possible. Until next time, this is the South American DPC signing out. Goodbye. We'll see you in the future.